Ozyorsk. Originally known as City 40, this Russian settlement was the birthplace of the Soviet nuclear weapons program and remains strictly off-limits to outsiders. Built in the late 1940s around the massive Mayak plutonium plant, its existence was completely denied by the government for decades. Even today, it is surrounded by double barbed wire fences and armed guards. The people who live here enjoy a surprisingly high standard of living, with well-funded schools and civic amenities designed to compensate for the extreme secrecy of their daily lives. That comfort comes with a dark legacy, as the nearby area is heavily contaminated from decades of careless radioactive waste disposal and a massive nuclear disaster in 1957 that was kept hidden from the world. Seversk. Located deep in the Tomsk region of Siberia, this heavily guarded city is wrapped in layers of security and immense physical walls. For decades, it operated under a secretive postal code to obscure its true location, existing primarily to produce highly enriched uranium and plutonium for the military. Over 100,000 people call it home today, making it one of the largest closed cities still in operation. The residents need special passes just to leave and return, while visitors require rare, high-level government clearance to enter. Modern life continues quietly behind the checkpoints, largely sustained by the ongoing operations of the Siberian Chemical Combine. Zheleznogorsk. Hidden within the dense forests of the Krasnoyarsk region, this settlement was built with a highly specific defensive purpose in mind. The town itself looks quite ordinary above ground, featuring grand Soviet architecture and peaceful tree-lined streets. The true heart of the community, however, lies buried beneath a nearby granite mountain. Engineers excavated massive caverns to house nuclear reactors and chemical separation plants, ensuring they could survive a direct nuclear strike. While weapons-grade plutonium production has ceased, the subterranean facilities are still used for processing and storing spent nuclear fuel, keeping the perimeter strictly locked down. Sarov. This location presents a strange intersection of deep religious history and immense destructive power. Before the Cold War, it was famous for being one of the holiest sites in the Russian Orthodox Church, drawing pilgrims from all over the country to its ancient monasteries. The government eventually seized the area, removed it from all official maps, and transformed it into their primary weapons design center. It was here that physicists developed the Tsar Bomba, the largest nuclear weapon ever detonated. The city remains the headquarters of the Russian Federal Nuclear Center, effectively keeping its historic shrine sealed behind military checkpoints. Mirny. Moving away from the nuclear industry, this isolated northern Russian town owes its secrecy to the aerospace sector. It serves as the primary residential area for the personnel working at the Plesetsk Cosmodrome, a major spaceport originally designed for launching intercontinental ballistic missiles. Because the nearby launch pads handle highly classified military satellites, the town of roughly 30,000 people is entirely restricted. Life revolves around the constant schedule of rocket launches, and the harsh subarctic climate only adds to the intense isolation of the community. Nestled near Mount Yamantau in the Republic of Bashkortostan, the exact purpose of this heavily restricted town has never been fully disclosed. Satellite imagery and historical intelligence suggest it supports a massive underground bunker complex dug deep into the Ural Mountains. Speculation ranges from a command center meant to house national leaders during a global crisis to a secure repository for national treasures and reserves. The thousands of residents who live in the associated surface settlement are assumed to be the construction workers, engineers, and support staff dedicated to maintaining whatever lies hidden beneath the rock. Vilyuchinsk. Situated on the far eastern Kamchatka Peninsula, this city serves as the strategic stronghold for the Russian Pacific Fleet's nuclear submarine squadron. The surrounding geography provides incredibly deep and protected waters, making it an ideal staging ground for ballistic missile submarines to slip quietly into the open ocean. Security is exceptionally tight, as the submarines stationed here form a critical part of the country's strategic defense. Relatives of the sailors and base staff find it incredibly difficult to secure visiting permits, and the remote, mountainous terrain surrounding the bay naturally reinforces the strict military lockdown. City 404. Built in the remote expanses of the Gobi Desert, this was once the primary hub of China's own nuclear weapons program. During the Cold War, the nation gathered its top scientists, engineers, and their families in this completely unmapped settlement to develop their first atomic bomb. It was designed as a self-sustaining microcosm of a typical Chinese city, complete with a zoo, an amusement park, and a municipal government, all hidden from the outside world. Today, the town is largely abandoned, with the vast majority of its residents relocated after the testing programs were moved or dismantled, leaving behind empty streets to the desert winds. Oak Ridge, tucked into the valleys of eastern Tennessee, this American community was rapidly constructed from scratch during the Second World War as a vital part of the Manhattan Project. At its peak, tens of thousands of workers lived in a sprawling, muddy town that did not exist on any state map. The massive factories they operated were enriching the uranium ultimately used in the first atomic weapons. Yet most residents had absolutely no idea what they were building until the war ended. Although the gates were eventually opened to the public in the late 1940s, parts of the local national laboratory remain highly secured to this day. Los Alamos. Perched on a remote mesa in New Mexico, this was the central laboratory where the world's leading physicists actually designed and assembled the very first atomic bombs. Chosen for its extreme isolation and defensible geography, the military took over a small boys' ranch school and quickly turned it into a top-secret scientific enclave. Everything flowing in and out of the settlement passed through a single post office box in nearby Santa Fe to keep the true location hidden from foreign intelligence. Like its sister cities in the Manhattan Project, the town was eventually declassified and opened, though it is still dominated by the heavily guarded operations of the modern National Laboratory. Mercury. Located deep within the Nevada National Security Site, this settlement was established strictly to support the scientists and military personnel conducting the United States nuclear testing program. During the height of the Cold War, thousands of people lived here, right on the edge of the atomic testing grounds, complete with bowling alleys, cafeterias, and a movie theater. The residents routinely witnessed the blinding flashes and felt the shock waves of atmospheric explosions just miles away from their dormitories. The town became a virtual ghost town after full-scale nuclear testing was banned, though it remains entirely closed off to the general public under the jurisdiction of the Department of Energy. Woomera. Located in the arid outback of South Australia, this custom-built village was created in the late 1940s to support a massive aerospace and weapons testing range. For decades, it was a restricted zone governed strictly by the military, heavily involved in British and Australian rocketry, missile development, and early space exploration. The surrounding prohibited area is roughly the size of England, making it one of the largest overland testing ranges in the world. While the village itself eventually eased its restrictions and allows tourists today, the vast testing grounds it supports remain firmly closed and actively patrolled.